All right, so we're going to construct these different parts both algebraically and graphically. So let's start algebraically. If I want to find the vertex, I need to recognize first my values of a, b, and c. And I know that first, my x value is negative b over 2a. So in this case, that would mean that I have negative 10 over 2 times 1, which is negative 5. Now, to find the y value, I'm going to substitute back in my x. So y would equal negative 5 squared plus 10 times negative 5 plus 24. This gives me 25 minus 50 plus 24. And if I simplify that, that becomes negative 1. So the vertex of my parabola is at negative 5, negative 1. Now, because my parabola has a positive x squared value, that means that this point, my parabola, would open upward, which makes this a minimum. So for the zeros, I can either factor or I can use the quadratic formula. I'm going to factor in this case because it is relatively an easy one to factor. Because I'm saying, what do I multiply to make 24 that adds to make 10? In this case, that would be 6 times 4, or 6 plus 4. So I'm going to use my group factoring skills. So x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24 equals 0. So I'm looking at when y equals 0. So I'm going to group my first two terms, group my second two terms. In my first two, I can substitute out an x, or factor out an x. That gives me x plus 6. In my second one, I can factor out a positive 4, which again leaves me with x plus 6, which is exactly what I want to see. That means my two factors are x plus 4 and x plus 6 equals 0. So set them each equal to 0. X plus 4 equals 0. X plus 6 equals 0. That means that x equals negative 4 and x equals negative 6. And I would want to double check them, but I will tell you now that they do work. So that now let's look at what happens when we graph and how does this information all come from the graph as well. So I can substitute in here y equals x squared plus 10x plus 24. Now here's the nice thing about using Desmos. If I click on these points, I have all the solutions I just needed. Here is my vertex, negative 5, negative 1. It's where my parabola reaches its minimum value. Then the zeros are where it crosses the x-axis, negative 6, 0, negative 4, 0. So when I have integer solutions, the zeros are in the vertex are great on Desmos. It's when I get the decimals, I'm probably going to have to go back and use something like the quadratic formula to help me figure out those zeros, or actually use the algebraic forms to find the vertex.